The Winter Update 2023 has added a new main quest, the 20 Years a Cook. The main rewards of the quest is unlocking 2 new spawns, the Bultar Lair for level 400 range with monsters focused towards loot, and Nimmersa's Breeding Ground for around level 500 range with monsters focused towards experience. Besides that, you get a new outfit, the Dracoon Herald. Then lastly, unlock access to a new boss which drops 4 new armors, 1 for each vocation, with the new feature of augment spells on each of them, as well as dropping the items required to get the add-ons for the Dracoon Herald outfit. The difficulty of said boss is within the same level range, so it should be doable as long as you complete the quest. Now, to start the quest, the only requirements will be a spike sword, access to Mariana, and a bad sense of humor, because what you are about to start could be considered a bad meme. Start by heading to the southwest exit of Benor, and near the stairs find Shiri and just say hi, talk, yes. Then head towards the Benor dumpster and find the Omnios trash can to get to Dracoon. Ask him for a mission and he will tell you to go to Cassardin. Go up 3 times from the depot and find this teleport. You get sent to a room with the rest of Rata. Walk near him until you get a message, then go back to Dracoon to report. He will tell you about Rata and ask you to go back to him. On this room, you have a ghost duster, a spirit container, and a crate, all on the southeast side. The ghost duster machine shoots a beam in front of it when it receives damage, so damage over time spells are ideal for it. Open the crate to get the spirit container, and then your goal is to have the beam from the ghost duster hit Rata. For this, you can push the machine towards the middle to make it a bit easier, but you can also make Rata go to the southeast and have him get hit there. However, the problem is that not only he continues to move, but also at random he teleports across the room. When he does that, you can use the harp in the middle of the room to lure him towards it, but you can only use the harp 3 times per character. You can tell how many more you can do with a counter near your guild icon. Once you manage to get Rata hit by the beam, then he starts dropping remains on the floor. Use the vial on it and then deposit that on the spirit container. The goal is to do that 50 times, and Rata drops about 5 every time he gets hit. This mission can be soloed, but it requires a lot of luck and is honestly a waste of time to do solo, because you will get stuck at other missions where you can't do them solo. Once you deliver 50 vials into the spirit container, then you get a quest log updated and you can leave through the teleport. Go back to Dracoon to report the mission and then use the potions by the shelf to the northwest. Talk to Dracoon after that and ask him for a mission. Now head to Ghostlands for the second task, where you will find a trash can that teleports you to a cave. Take the northeast trash can there. Here you will find a Fraclops. Every now and then he shoots a beam, and you need to have the beam hit the locked door to destroy it. He cannot be rest, so whoever has aggro needs to build some distance and then walk towards the door with him in line with it. As he walks, he will shoot the beam and hit the door. You can also use the desk in the middle to do a lap and get him to the correct line. Once the door is broken, go outside and then by the southwest, grab an axe from the crate, lure the Cyclops on top of the basket and then use the axe to cut the rope. That will send him flying and give you the quest log update. Go back to Dracoon and report the mission. The next one is at the Poison Tower of Edron by the Dragon Lair. For this one, you need to grab crystals from the northwest of the room and bring them to the entrance, and click on the crate to drop them. The things you need to watch out for is just not attacking anything, as the pillars and Morshables reflect damage done to them, and that while you are in the room, you get randomly drunk and could walk out through the teleport when bringing the crystals. Other than that, it's just running back and forth, but with a time limit. You get 200 seconds upon entering, and when you deliver a crystal, you get 10 seconds back, but it's not enough to do this solo, so at least 2 people are needed, but more are recommended. After you bring 50 crystals and get the quest log updated, you can leave and go back to report your mission. And once again, you must go to Ghostlands, but this time take the trash can on the left. This one is a play on the idea of crafting the Sword of Fury. Use the lever in front of Dracoon and then use all 10 levers in the middle. After that, the machine starts to work and one of the levers will make a tick. Use it and green sparks appear in the middle. Any of the 10 levers can do it, so with 2 people, split sides and continue to pull the levers that tick. And after about 4 minutes, you will finish by breaking the Sword of Fury. Go back and report to Dracoon and give him a spike sword instead. The next mission is in Grey Island. For this one, you need to help the mad scientist working on the Bone Lord language by clearing the basement of his lab. On each floor, there will be different creatures. The first one has rats that hit for around 150 each. Kill the rats and then one person go back to talk to Dr. Rootbear. Everyone gets teleported back to the surface, then go back inside and now move to the second floor. This one has creatures that look like a crate, but don't move. These don't attack back, but instead reflect the damage you will do to them normally, although they only get hit for around 10% of your damage. So if you do 500 damage on attack, they take 50 and you you get reflected 500 more or less. So watch out for AoE attacks because you could easily die from reflections. Clear all the crates and then go talk to the NPC and repeat. For the third floor, the damage reflection gets even higher, to near 200% back to you, so be even more careful with AoE attacks. Since they don't take damage for an SD, you need to use spells, but pay attention to the positioning and try to hit 1 or 2 at a time. Take your time, but don't be too slow, because you have a timer countdown. As a 5-man of level 600s, we finished and still had over a minute left. Once you talk back to the doctor, make sure to stay in the surface and wait for his monologue, up until he gets crushed by the Cyclops you launched like an hour ago, right before he reveals the secret to the Bone Lord language. With that, you get the quest log updated, and then it's safe to leave and report your mission. Now he will send you to the Bulldogs lair, who are planning to invade humans, in Rugar of all places. The entrance is in POH, by the entrance towards POI. Enter the grave and then on the southeast corner you find the trash can. However, be very careful. Don't go in alone unprepared, as the entrance is very crowded with monsters, and it could kill mages without mana shield easily. So be prepared before you go in solo or wait for the party. Now, once inside, from the entrance, go northeast into -2, then southeast to the next stairs. Following the path, you get to -4, where they have built a replica of Rugar. Go to the temple and click on the machine there, and then go back to report your mission to Dracun. For the next task, head to Angramun and by the north exit, find the Secretary Raskuhan. After accepting to help him, he gives you a triangulator. Use it on these 3 spots inside Angramun. Then southwest of Serpentine Tower, you find the trash can and will be taken to a copy of the Serpentine Tower itself, with the Dracun literally shitting on it. And after 1 minute of watching him do his business, you get the quest log update and are free to leave. Report the mission and he will send you to Mariana next. By the northwest of the island, you will find Rascalio and ask him for a passage. For this fight, you need to stop Nimrsad's biggest creation, the Titano Dragon, rumored to be much bigger than boats and the greatest threat to humans, for which you turn into a little boat yourself and sail into the sea. By the starting point, there is a dock. Click on it to get a ballista ball, then go west to find a party ship. Use the ball on it to attack, and when it gets destroyed, loot the remains to get an enchanted ball. Now go into the sea to the north to find the almighty Titano Dragon, who ends up being just a dragon hatchling. Attack him using the bolt and that's it. Just make sure to avoid getting hit by the storms, as you have a counter inside the area that will kick you if it reaches 0. Once you defeat the god-like Titano Dragon, then report your mission and you will unlock access to the Nimrsad's breeding ground. But you also receive the Dracun Herald outfit by saying gratitude to Dracun. Now to access to the new spawn, you must go to the Monkey Plains, and by the entrance to the Temple of Equilibrium, where the Lizard Chosens are, you will fight the trash can, which similar to the other spawn, also has creatures upon entering, but not as many as the Bulldog lair. The creature here are closing damage to cobras, with the mega dragons hitting twice as much as the other dragons, but be careful as the rooms are big and the density of monsters is high, which is why this is a similar spawn to Isabi, perhaps a bit worse to it, but a nice alternative, which I will be covering in a hunting video at some point, so subscribe for that. But back to the quest. To get to the new boss fight, go northeast from the entrance to go upstairs and then northeast again. This fight is called the Dragon Pack because it has a total of 7 mini bosses, which you fight one at a time by summoning them in the order you decide. However, here is the tricky part. Each dragon has an innate mechanic to it. Upon defeating the dragon, the next one will inherit said mechanic. The mechanics include Fear, Self-Heal, Hex, Mana Drain, Root, and Skills Reduction. And this is the order we've been using for this fight. First, we start with Malice, the first lever from the left. He doesn't have any special mechanic, but might have a chain attack instead, which counts as the mechanic. It's either that or all dragons have the same chain attack. Next up is Desport, the lever number 7. His mechanic is a skill reduction as AoE near him, so shooters don't get hit from it at far range. Next up is Krultor, the 6th lever. He casts Root, which stops you from moving, and additionally he doesn't take ice damage and heals himself from energy attacks. Even energy bombs were healing him almost 2k per tick, but since placing bombs is important as the EK, to avoid running the fear mechanic, make sure to use poison bombs for that. Next up is Vengar, the 2nd lever. He has the fear mechanic, but also heals himself a lot from fire damage. Next up is Gridok, the 4th lever. He has the Hex mechanic. What this does is that while you are under the negative effect, all healing done to you is reduced, but also you do less damage during it. He also heals himself from death attacks, so for this one, just switch to spells or fireballs, and also text reduce physical damage, so be mindful of that. Next up is Billiard, the 5th level. This boss also takes reduce physical damage and heals from energy attacks, and his mechanic is of mana drain, which sounds simple, but the mana drain is very high. So if done in the early phases instead, the EK is likely to struggle with mana the entire time. Now moving on to the last boss, Bruton, the 3rd level. He doesn't take physical damage and a bit reduced death damage. His mechanic is self-heal, which does it often and heals for 7k. For that reason, it's recommended to leave him last, regardless of the order from previous bosses, which you don't have to follow the same order I'm recommending. That's just what we are using for now, and it might change later. We also did it differently on the first day, and it was a struggle, because we did mana drain and life drain very early, but we were still able to brute force our way through. Also, regardless of the order you do, the last boss is the one that will trigger the drops, and in the boss theory will count as Despot. If you want to grab the loot right away, it will be in a chest on the south side of the room. And the rare loot from them is the new armor equipment pieces for each vocation. These come with the augment spells feature on top of the other stats. Another possible drop is the items needed to complete the Dracoon outfit. And with that, you will have completed the questline. This boss fight has a cooldown of 20 hours, and the only thing left to do is to go back to Dracoon so that he removes the soul of Rata from your body, which has been spamming messages since the first mission. Thank you for watching. If you like the content, consider subscribing or supporting further with DCs to Goody donation. And a special thanks to Tuna Hero, Nightstar and Thor the Slasher for doing so. And I hope to see you on the next video.